Okay, I'm back and I've picked up all of these DVDs today, which is unusual because normally when I go out looking for movies, I'll pick up maybe 2, 3, 4, maybe if I've had a lucky day. Today, for some reason, I found quite a lot that I wanted, and would you believe that all of these together cost me £7.50? I did purchase these from different stores, so I'll tell you exactly how much they cost as I'm going through them. But yeah, for the complete bundle here, £7.50. Okay, so the first charity shop I went into, I picked up 3 DVDs and 1 Blu-ray, and they only charged me 50p for the entire lot. This was an absolute steal. Now, I picked up this movie, The Road to El Dorado. This is an animated movie by DreamWorks before they went into computerized animation. This is a hand-drawn animated film. They also did Sinbad, and I think they did one called The Horse Prince or something like that. I can't quite remember. But the animation that these guys do is absolutely beautiful. It reminds me a lot of Don Bluth in many ways, and of course Disney, but I see these as rivals to Disney, and they have made some really, really good movies. Sinbad is a very, very good movie and beautifully animated, and so is this. So I had to pick that up. I've seen it quite a while back and I thought I'd give it another go. The second DVD I picked up is the Ninja Turtles, Turtles Forever. This is where the 2003 Ninja Turtles meet the 1987 Turtles. I think it was a multi-part episode which was released on Nickelodeon, and they compiled it all into one movie for the 25th anniversary of the Ninja Turtles, if I'm not mistaken. Interesting thing about this is, and the ironic thing about this, is that in the UK this movie is uncut, but I believe in the US it's heavily cut. Which is ironic because in the 1980s it was the Ninja Turtles in the UK that was heavily cut. So it's nice to pick this up. This was a good find. Now this one is a little bit of a guilty pleasure, Lost in Space. When I was a kid I absolutely loved the TV series that used to be on, and I've got very vague memories of watching it because I was very young at the time. So when they made this movie it was a must. I just had to go and watch it at the cinemas, and it has some very dodgy CGI, the early days of CGI. But like I said, it's a guilty pleasure of mine, and I do enjoy it for what it is. So when I saw this, I had to pick this up as well. Brilliant film. And now for the Blu-ray title that I picked up, Despicable Me. And what's interesting about this is it's a steelbook. Now remember, these 4 titles that I picked up cost me 50p. And to find a Blu-ray steelbook of Despicable Me is absolutely fantastic. Now I will draw your attention here. The title isn't in English, but you can select English audio in this, so it doesn't really bother me at all. But it's a really nice steelbook, and I'm quite happy with that. And the discs inside seem to be in pretty good condition. So yeah, I think this was a really good find, and considering they only charged me 50p for the 4, you can't really lose. And it came in this little slipcover as well, so it is in really good condition. So that was a really good find. It just goes to show that if you look around in charity shops, every now and again you will stumble across a gem. So the third charity shop I went into was selling 3 DVDs for £1, and I actually picked up 10, and they didn't charge me for the 10th one. They just charged me £3 for the entire lot. Okay, so first of all I got Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, starring Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. This was before he shot to fame once again with the Iron Man role, and this is an awesome film. I can't actually remember much of the plot, but I think he gets caught up in some kind of murder or something like that. But I do remember liking it, so I thought this was a good film to purchase and keep in my collection, and I'll actually enjoy watching that again because it's not fresh in my mind. Next movie I picked up was Solo. A lot of people didn't like this movie, but I think it's alright for what it is. I quite enjoyed it. Good little film. I think it is a hell of a lot better than the last trilogy that we got in the Star Wars series. That was, in my opinion, not great. But this, I enjoyed it for what it was. It was enjoyable. So yeah, I picked that up when I saw it because that'll go nicely into my collection. The next one is an absolute classic, and I already own it. This is A Space Odyssey 2001, and you might be asking yourself, why have you picked it up again if you already own it? Well, the reason is I picked it up a while back and the box was a little bit worse for wear. It was one of those cardboard sleeve boxes that open out. And at the time, I weren't really that bothered. I picked it up, I put it into my collection. But today, when I saw this in such a clean box, I thought I'll pick it up and I'll just replace the other one I've got. Maybe I'll head back to the charity shop with that other copy and put this in its place. Okay, so the next movie I picked up was Airplane, and I've been looking to get this in my collection for quite some time. And I was quite happy picking this up because you get the sequel in here as well, which I've never actually seen. So now I'm going to get a chance to see it. This film is just classic comedy. Some people might think it's a little bit outdated now, but that's what I love about it. I think most of the comedies that were brought out in the past are 9 times better than the ones we get these days. Absolute classic film. Dead happy I got hold of this. Okay, so the next movie I picked up is Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray. As you can see in the back there, I'm a massive fan of Ghostbusters, so any film with Bill Murray in, I'm interested in, apart from the new Ant-Man film that was atrocious. But 9 times out of 10, if it's a film with Bill Murray in, especially from the 80s and 90s, it's going to be fantastic. And famously, this was directed by Harold Ramis, and the two actually had a fallout on that film, which was quite sad. And they didn't actually talk again until Harold Ramis was on his deathbed, which is quite sad, really. But this is possibly one of the last pieces of work that they did together. I may be mistaken about that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. So this is a great addition to having the collection as well. Next, I picked up this Western, which I absolutely love. I've seen it so many times. It's called Open Range, starring Kevin Costner and Robert Duvall. And in my opinion, it's very, very underrated. And Kevin Costner seems to return to these kind of roles every now and again as the, the lone, grumpy Western cowboy guy. And he does it really well. And this film, I don't think, is given the praise that it deserves. This film is absolutely amazing. It's a little bit of a slow burner, but when it gets going, it's fantastic, and it's got a really good story to it as well. I highly recommend this to anybody. The next movie I picked up is Hook, starring the great Robin Williams, and this movie is just a pleasure to watch from start to finish. It's filled with nostalgia, and I think the effects in this movie still hold up to this day. When he's actually flying over Neverland, I think that effect looks brilliant. In this movie, you will believe a man can fly. The quote taken from Superman. You will believe a man can fly when you watch this movie. It is absolutely fantastic, a lot of fun, wholesome, good family fun, really good family film. Next movie I've got here is a Tim Burton film. It's Mars Attacks, and if I'm not mistaken, this film came out around about the same time as movies like Independence Day and all these disaster films like we got in the 90s. But this one wasn't as serious as the others. This was a little bit of a Mickey take, and it was absolutely fantastic, and to this day I love it. The effects are probably now a little bit dated, but I have watched it recently and it doesn't really take you out of the movie. It's still great. Close, Annette Bening, Pierce Brosnan, Danny DeVito, and so many other actors. There's even a scene with Tom Jones in it at one point. This is a fantastic comedy sci-fi film that I say anyone should have in the collection, especially if you like the 1950s sci-fi movies and, if you like comedy films. Brilliant film. The next movie I picked up is a little bit more serious in tone. There Will Be Blood, starring Daniel Day-Lewis, and this movie is absolutely fantastic, and the performance Daniel Day-Lewis puts in, just like he puts in all of his other films, was absolutely amazing, and it's a pleasure to watch just to watch him on screen. The story is good as well. It's about a oil tycoon. I'm not going to give any more away. And it also stars Paul Dano, who played the Riddler in the new Batman film, and his performance is just as good. There's not many films you watch with Daniel Day-Lewis where the actor can, almost come to his level, but Paul Dano does that in this film, and it's just a pleasure to watch. I highly recommend this. The next movie I picked up was Uncle Buck, starring John Candy, and this movie is absolutely brilliant. It's a very funny film, but it's got heart as well, and it stars Macaulay Culkin, and that's the main reason I liked it as a kid, because I loved Home Alone, and when I found out that Macaulay Culkin was starring in this film, I watched it, and then I grew to love it, mainly because Macaulay Culkin was in it. It was only later on in life that I'd learned that he actually made this film before Home Alone, so this was a precursor to that film. But yeah, this film is absolutely great. It's a classic. I was quite happy to find this on the shelf, and this is another welcome addition to the library that I've got going at the moment. Third charity shop I went into was selling 4 DVDs for £2, so 50p each. I got this bundle for £4, and you're going to notice a little bit of a theme at first. A lot of these movies, the first 3 I think are Tom Cruise films, because I do like Tom Cruise films, and I've picked up some absolute classics. First of all, I picked up Top Gun. Now, I do actually have the second Top Gun film on Blu-ray, and I would not buy that on DVD. I think Top Gun 2 is a film that boasts its visuals, and you need to enjoy its visuals just as much as enjoying the story. But with the DVD, with the first Top Gun, on DVD, I'm not really that bothered about. I can enjoy this on DVD just as much as I would enjoy it on Blu-ray. So I picked that up to go into the collection. Now it can sit next to Top Gun 2. Next we have Rain Man, and This is an absolutely brilliant title. I absolutely love this film. I've seen it quite a few times. It's a drama, like quite a serious drama with a little bit of comedy in there as well, and it's quite heartbreaking as well in parts, but the movie on the whole is absolutely amazing. This was back in the day when Tom Cruise wasn't really an action star. He was he was still like a really big movie star, but he was going for more of these dramatic roles more than your action star roles. I think Top Gun was actually one of the first movies he went into where he was showing off his action star skills. But this one is absolutely amazing. Dustin Hoffman plays this character to perfection. It's really, really well done. And like I said, a really pulling your heartstring kind of movie. I think this is a must for anyone's collection. They actually had another copy of this in the shop as well, but it didn't have all of these special features on, so I opted for this one, which is something I will always do. I'll look for the one with the most special features, because if I decide to review the movie in the future, the special features can give me a lot of information. The next movie I picked up is Cocktail, and this one's actually still in the cellophane. This one's brand new. I haven't seen this film for a long time, and I can't actually remember much of the plot. I know that he's a bartender and there's a love interest, and I think there's a feud going on with his best mate in the film. But other than that, I can't really remember much about the story. So it'll be quite enjoyable to put this on and watch it what will feel like the first time. Okay, so the next title I picked up is Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. I have actually got a few more Tarantino films in my collection, so this is a welcomed addition to go in with the others. They are movies I'm always looking out for when I'm on the hunt for DVDs, because I want to have a complete Tarantino collection, and Pulp Fiction is just a must. And I was happy to find this today because it's one that I never really see out in the wild for some reason. Next movie I picked up is Roadhouse, starring Patrick Swayze. This is an 80s classic guilty pleasure. It's absolutely fantastic. The action in this is amazing. Patrick Swayze is amazing in it. And as you'll notice, if you live in the UK, this cover looks a little strange. It's a Region 1 disc. I've never actually seen this cover before in the UK shops. And I opted for this because it's got a lot of special features on the back. I do actually own this on Region 2, but I'm pretty sure there's no special features on that copy. But this one comes quite full of special features, so that's one of the main reasons I picked this up. Absolutely great action film. I think it gets a little bit silly towards the end when he just totally murders a load of people. You know, he would be arrested for that, but somehow, because it's Dalton, he just gets away with it. You know, we just brush that under the rug. Okay, next we have a movie called Chasing Amy, and I was really happy to find this. This is a movie directed by Kevin Smith, and he's directed a load of other films that kind of exist in the same cinematic universe. So you will see the same characters pop up every now and again. I've actually got a few of these movies already, so I'm on the look for other ones to fill in the gaps, and Chasing Amy is one that I was really happy to find today. It's not one that really pops up much on the shelves, and this is a Region 1 copy as well, so it's got quite a lot of special features, like I keep saying, and I was really happy to get this, and it's actually the Criterion edition as well, so they are renowned for putting more special features into the disc. Really happy with this purchase. I couldn't have been happier to find this. The next movie I picked up is Contact, starring Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey. This movie I've never actually seen all the way through. I've only seen the end for some reason. I put it on one day when it was on the television. I watched the end of it, but I haven't seen the beginning. And I thought the end of the movie looked really interesting. And although I've spoiled the end of the movie for myself, I still want to see the rest of the film. So I picked this up today. You know, this will be a welcome addition to the collection, and I can't wait to watch it all the way through. That'll be an interesting watch. Okay, the next movie I picked up is an absolute classic, and if you're a big movie fan like myself, I believe this is a movie that you just have to have in your collection. The Wizard of Oz. This film is absolutely amazing and was groundbreaking in its time, and it's got quite a lot of interesting lore surrounding the making of it as well. And just like the other ones that I mentioned, it's got 2 discs and it's full of special features, so I'll enjoy watching those special features on this movie. I absolutely loved this movie as a kid, even though I hated black and white films when I was a kid. But I remember watching this at my grandparents', and they assured me that eventually the movie would turn to colour. And I was like, no, it's not, it's black and white. But eventually, of course, when she arrived in Oz, it turned to colour. As soon as she opened that door, the colour filled the screen, and I was just in from that point on. Yeah, an absolute must if you're a movie fan. Fantastic film. So there we have it, 22 DVDs, or should I say 21 DVDs and one Blu-ray to put into the collection, and it cost me only £7.50. When you think about it, that is an absolute steal. You could probably pick any one of these films to go and rent on Amazon if it's not available on a streaming platform for free, and it will probably cost you about £3-4 just to rent. So to have all these in my collection for £7.50, I'm absolutely over the moon with. This is what I mean when I say that I think it is a good thing to go out and try and find DVDs for a cheap price, so you can just fill up your movie library of all the movies you love and have them and own them forever. In my eyes, it's a good investment. It's a good way to collect movies. And like I said, 10 years ago, VHS tapes were dirt cheap, and now you can't find them anywhere. And if you go online to buy your favourite VHS tape from your youth because you want to collect them, they're really expensive. I believe that will happen one day with DVDs. When people realise that they want them again, they'll go up in price. So now is the time to jump on the bandwagon and start picking some of these up for a bargain price. So I hope you enjoyed the debut episode for the new series that I plan to run alongside my other content, where we go hunting for DVDs, some really good titles. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.